Thank you, Anand. Actually, it would have been more fun to hear more of your talk, as because you are actually talking about the what a businessman has to look forward when he's in India. Now, I request all the panelists to come onto the stage so that you can take up the questions, please. And yes, now you can shoot your questions. I request the panelists, once you take the question, please repeat the question so that it'll be easy for us to get in, so everybody knows what the question is. Any hands? Yep. Whom do you want to?
My question is for Mr.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Nadav Shemer from the Jerusalem Post. My question is for Mr. Purushottam.
Yes, please.
You mentioned that India could be a hub for Israeli companies wanting to sell to the Middle East. I was wondering if you could expand on that and how India could...
See, right now, I don't think export is possible to Middle East for you. If you set up an industry there, a manufacturing center in India, and it's an Indian subsidiary, then that is easy for you to export. The entire, this is Malaysia, Indonesia, the entire Middle East, Gulf, Arab countries, is there for you. Right now, it may not be possible for you to do it directly. So that's one advantage. Once a free trade agreement is in place, you get better opportunities there, and it becomes a little easier for you. I hope I'm clear. Thank you.
I'd like to ask one question to either Eli or Vani. Both of them can answer this question. Pardon? Yes, sorry. Sorry. When the relations between Israel and India started, it was a 2D, we always call it as a 2D, only diamond and defense. Okay? And over 20 years, things are changing slowly. How do you see it in future? How is that going to change? You can speak from both the...
In future, I think the India-Israel relationship will be more diverse. The real strength and foundation of the relationship is the excellent people-to-people linkages, which my colleague also mentioned, and I'm sure he'll agree on this. On the basis of that strength, we want to diversify into various fields. Both of us mentioned agriculture, water, so many new areas. And essentially, it's a new kind of partnership we're looking for. I'll again say this, not a traditional buyer-seller interaction, but a true partnership between our two nations based on innovation and knowledge. We need to match our respective areas of strengths and build on the complementarities. Eli?
מגיע, לא מגיע.
Yeah, one of the things that I think it's working?
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah. One of the things that I think we're looking to the future more is getting more Indian companies to Israel. I mean, now the flow is more from Israel towards India, and I think there are quite a number of companies in India, for example, in the infrastructure development field, which could work on projects in Israel. So far, we haven't had many of those, but I think definitely India has a very significant experience in this field. So we definitely, I think, in the future, will see more attempts from Indian companies to get into Israel, and the free trade agreement that hopefully will be signed soon will be a very good instrument to facilitate this this movement here.
From the Aviv program. I had a question. You mentioned that both countries have synergies between them, and Israel is considered an R&D hub in globalized and Indianized. Has there been any acquisitions of Israeli technologies by Indian companies, Indian-based companies?
I think Anand can answer that question.
The answer is yes. The question is who. And just last year, there were 3 deals of technology acquisition by Indian companies. So it's happening. far from reaching the potential, I would say, because a lot of Indian companies are now scouting for technology in Israel. But it doesn't reach really the deal. 3 is nice, because when you compare it to 10 years ago, there was nothing. So there is hope, but I don't remember the name, so if you do.
But there's, of course, there's Taro and Sun, which are large.
Yeah, but you were asking about IT. I know. Taro I mentioned, and the rest, but not in IT, it's Mega Allianz. Allianz Tires were acquired by an Indian company. What else? Nothing that, not done yet, but it's in the irrigation.
I'm talking something about more R&D focused, more high-tech, more telecommunications.
I can dig the names for you later and give you. I'm keeping those paper clips.
In fact, what I have seen is that Israeli companies are setting up companies there because they have got expertise, not only technology expertise, they have got fund also. So they would rather set up shops there. Like Teva has got a manufacturing unit there. The waterfront, waterside management side, you can see Nandan Jain and NetFM also. NetFM India is there. It's doing very well. It's having turnover for around, I think, 200 million. So most of the companies are, I mean, Nest is having this branch there. Amdocs is having branch there. They're setting up office there. Or separate manufacturing unit or subsidiaries.
Hello. Question for Mrs. Hanurao. My name is Tal Weshef. I'm from Ynet News. And a few days ago, we read an editorial article by Hindustan Times describing India as, in one hand, very close to Israel, sharing many things, as you said and others said also, having common interest and having a beneficial mutual help to each other, while at the same time, India is quite alienated to Israel on the international affairs area, voting against Israel in the United Nations regularly, and criticizing Israel whenever there's a dispute with any Arab side, and calling to India to take a more pro-Israeli side. Do you see such a warming up of relationship in the international affair areas following the economic and technology closing up?
India and Israel have a very close and friendly relationship. And it's officially only 20 years old, but our two countries have known each other far longer than that. And we mentioned people-to-people linkages. I would just like to mention here that among the various communities and religions which were able to practice in India, it was even the Jews were one of them. They had a very peaceful heritage and existence in India for more than 2,000 years. So that's the strength of the relationship, that's the basis of the relationship. The statistics that you saw today, the economics, the trade is booming. Cooperation in defense and homeland security is excellent. And we have a large number of Israelis going to India. A large number of Indians are showing interest in Israel. And in any relationship between two countries, there are issues on which the two countries don't necessarily agree. And we have the confidence, India and Israel, both of us have the confidence that our relationship has reached a level of maturity and understanding that we can withstand differences on issues, whatever that may be. And India has been conducting its foreign policy also in a very mature and dignified manner. We have excellent relations with Israel. At the same time, we have excellent relations with the Arab world. And it's a fine and delicate balance that we are maintaining. And we will do so. I'm sure our relations are only bound to strengthen in the next decades to come. So that's the true test of a relationship. It's a relationship among friends and partners, and that's how we want it to be. I'm going to ask Eli if he wants to add anything or.
Hi, my name is Noam. I have a business development company in Delhi Ventures. I want to ask Anat if she can name few mistakes Israeli companies are doing, because if I look on the half empty side of the glass, I had a few companies that lately closed their business in India and came back to Israel, Motizisto, Azurim, Telrad, etc. What are the mistakes? Why are they closing the office and coming back? They didn't work with you?
Oh, yeah. That's one, of course. But seriously, I mean, there are so many, so I'll try to find really the good ones. I think that the business model is one mistake. Businesses which are coming to India are studied in that they need to do business plans, so they think they'll sell one shoe for each Indian. So this business plan definitely doesn't work. Now, India is different economy, and the pricing model in India is different in a sense that India is more price sensitive. You cannot price, what is this? A box, the way you price it in Israel. In India, you will not get the same price. And many companies just don't accept it, and they try to sell it 10%, 20% less than the Israeli price. It doesn't work. My rule of thumb is that if you'd like to sell this box in India, you need to sell it by 30%, 40% of the Israeli or US shelf price. Now, sometimes it's not possible, but you can try to do it possible by manufacturing in India, changing the specs to fit the Indian needs, and sell it in the right price. And in the pricing-wise, I have many examples to give you of Israelis that were not willing to adjust to the Indian pricing and just couldn't sell, couldn't compete in the local market. So pricing is one thing. Then patience. Patience and budget, which goes together actually, because when you don't have enough budget and the process takes long and you need to get an approval. I mean, just now we are taking an Israeli company to open a plant in India. The procedures and the bureaucracies and all the steps that you have to make on the way are very time-consuming and long and sometimes annoying. And if you don't have the patience, and if you don't have the budget to actually now do evaluation by a CPA in India and to do this and to do that, things that people didn't think about, and you need to make an extra trip to India, and expenses are piling. And when people tells me, I have 100,000 to invest in the business development in India, I mean, I said, this is really nothing, nothing will come up. So you need to have a real budget for India. And India is not cheap anymore. I mean, we're coming to India not because it's cheap, because of the big market, because of the potentials to go to Arab countries. That's India. It's all about when you go to India, the hotel is more expensive than it is in Tel Aviv. So all those misconceptions that India is cheap, India is not, to my eyes anymore, is not cheap anymore. The IT professionals are well paid. I mean, there's no leverage. You go to India for IT because of the skilled manpower, of the number of people that you can hire, of the expendable of your business, but not because an engineer is cheaper. That's not, it's not anymore. So those are two mistakes, and if you'd like, we can spend 3 hours and I'll give you more.
And you mentioned that we want to bring more Indian companies to Israel, where I believe one of the root causes of that not happening is the hostility of civilians towards the image of Israel. When I told my people in India that I was coming to Israel, they all said, "Oh, what, you're going to join the Mossad? It's so, politically unstable." Like that is the general perception India has of Israel, and there isn't much awareness about such a big democracy that exists here. Besides all the various fields of business that we've mentioned, I want to know what efforts are we taking in building a better image of Israel in India and making it seem more friendly to companies to come into Israel.
I think it's a question for Eli to answer.
Vani.
It's about improving Israel's image in India. If it was
We're all into it. We are all in it. Okay. Thank you for the question. It's a good question, I think. I'll tell you something. I think that India in general is not a country, really. It's a subcontinent. And as such, it's more, from my experience, it's more introvert. I mean, relatively to the size of the population, not many people still, although this number is growing in a very rapid way, but still not very many people travel abroad and have a good understanding of what it means. So from my experience in India, you have, of course, the people who are more educated and basically like everywhere, who have a very good understanding of Israel, and I would say not even understanding, but to some extent even admiration of Israel because of what Israel has managed to achieve despite the harsh conditions that we are in. And of course, we were trying to broaden, and we are still trying to broaden this understanding also to the lower levels of the population, to which you can also similarly ask the same question about people in, you can stop a bus in Jerusalem, get on the bus and ask people what do they think about India, and you might get kind of interesting answers, I suppose. So it's not something that is, unique to India, but we do try to broaden our image. And I can tell you, I once traveled in Andhra Pradesh, and I was with some local official, and we stopped in the middle of some field, and he asked the farmers there what kind of equipment they are using, and they said we use Israeli equipment. So, and this is just in the middle of nowhere. So I think Israel has quite a good name in India. You can also see perhaps the reports on the visit of the Indian foreign minister 2 weeks ago in Israel, and you will see that it received a very warm response in the Indian media. So I think, I don't know, you probably got the correct image, but I'm not sure it's 100% representative of the population there. But of course, we still have to do a lot, but we are not in a bad situation there.
There's time for just one last question.
Can I say one word, an answer to this lady?
Yeah, sure.
I think from my experience is exactly the opposite. If there is a potential for Israelis to do business without prejudices, etc., it's in India, less in Europe, and less maybe in the US, because you know what the situation in Europe for many Europeans against Israel, but it's far less in India. So I think the opposite is the right thing.
Brent, you want to make a last?
Sure.
We have two last questions, sorry.
So one of the main competitive advantages that India has, in at least the eyes of Americans, is that they have a highly educated workforce, and that their workforce does work for less money. But now the Indian middle class is gaining more power, the Indian economy is getting stronger, the rupee is getting stronger. Pretty soon that less expensive labor is becoming more expensive, and you guys are losing that competitive advantage you guys had. What is the India doing to hedge against that, against losing that advantage in the future?
You're right in a way. Many years ago, India was a destination for various foreign companies, mainly because of the low cost of labor. But it's not so anymore. There is a lot of competition from the former East European countries, which where people are offering the same kind of task for a lesser amount of money. So you should look at the Indian market not for the low cost of labor alone, but for the highly skilled and technical manpower that's available, extremely qualified. We have a very strong tradition of education in the sciences, engineering, math, and very qualified people. And add to that very large manufacturing capabilities, the ability to have a large commercial scale production. Those are your advantages, not necessarily low cost of workforce alone. I think that doesn't hold good anymore. We offer various other advantages. There are more easier approvals for companies to set up plants in India. Many other incentives, sector-specific incentives are being offered. So you should look at that as an entire package and not for one particular factor.
One last question.
Again, related to the banking industry. Being a state-owned bank, how is the government, how is the state involved in setting up guidance and as such in the operation of the bank?
No, I didn't follow that exactly.
Is the government involved in the operation of the banks?
Gov-
Approvals and
If, for example, the areas where the state would like to emphasize on, would these emphasis be given through the bank's activity?
No, once repeat.
How is the government? How is the state involved? How is the state using its involvement in the bank in reaching its guidance?
See,
reaching its goals?
government is giving the broad guidelines. Government is giving the broad guidelines as far as working of bank is concerned. In flow to certain sectors, there should not be any sector concentration. I mean, normal guidelines which is given in every country, it is there. And as far as risk exposure also is concerned, there also certain guidelines are there. Actually, I didn't follow. I mean, what exactly is in your mind? I mean, as far as you are talking from the side of the entrepreneur.
I'm talking, for example, from the side in China, for example, Chinese state-owned banks are being, or Chinese banks are being used by the government to reach its goals.
Yeah, in India also there are guidelines. Government guidelines are there for the working of the bank. But probably you have this Chinese financial protocol in your mind. Okay, the financial protocol which is there right now between this country and China, the same model is not workable in India because Chinese government have more sway. I mean, more control over the banks. I mean, on everything for that matter. India, just like this country, more democratic, and as I said, is highly litigant also. And banks are given more freedom also. I mean, not like China. And everything is transparent. However, guidelines are there. Very clear guidelines are there. Broad guidelines. That's given by the Finance Ministry and Reserve Bank of India. Just like here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was quite an interesting interaction. Now I would like to thank the panelists for taking out their time in their busy schedules, and we have left compliments from the Israel Asia Center as well as the SOFA MBA as a kind of token of respect for taking out your time. And I thank the audience to take their own time and come out and listen to what India is all about, and also the students of MBA programs, because these are going to be the future managers. Probably you should look for them, and you know where to look for the money and what kind of businesses you have to work on. So thank you very much, and please don't forget to switch on your mobiles now, okay? Thank you very much.